Hello, welcome to Mission Driven Monday. My name is Chantel Adams, and I am here with Orly Wahba. Orly sent me a book. It was probably a couple years ago now, but it was called Kindness Boomerang. And I read that book. It's full of 365 kindness prompts, reflections, questions to kind of get you thinking about how to spread kindness in your community every day of the year. And I just got really interested in Orly and what she was doing. And so I started poking around on the internet, and I found out that there is more to Orly than just the Kindness Boomerang. I mean, that's what she's about. And that is, you have another organization that is called Life Best Inside, which is a really cool name for the things that kind of keep us afloat and keep us alive. And so you have this organization and you do the kindness thing, but also you used to be a middle school teacher. And I also read that you went to trapeze school and that you've done a lot in film, and you currently live in Jerusalem. And so you're just one of those people that it's like, oh man, I wish I could meet you in person so we could hang out and do lots of fun things, but I get to interview you here, and so that's going to have to suffice for now. So, Orly, thank you for meeting me today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to this. I just want to applaud all the work that you're doing to inspire people out there in so many different ways to connect more with themselves and what really drives them forward. So continue doing the awesome work you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, the reason I'm interviewing you today is because of the awesome work that you're doing. You guys, I'm going to post a link to a video that is on YouTube that Orly produced a few years ago, and it has over 30 million views now. I mean, that video really went viral, and it's about kindness. And I know kindness is something that we talk about in our community and in our schools and in our churches all the time. And like, people are like, oh my gosh, are we talking about kindness again? But the reason we have to talk about it so much is because people aren't doing it as much as they should be, right? But anyway, let's get back to you and let's talk about what are you really proud of? You know, when you look back over your life and the things that you've done, and your bio is a strong bio. I mean, you have a laundry list of things that you're not only interested in and passionate about, but awards that you've won, degrees that you have. When you look back over that list, what stands out to you? What are you proud of?
It's a really, really great question. The truth is, I would say one of the top things that I'm proud of actually began before the organization started. It was my years as a teacher. To be honest, those were seven of the most transformative years of my life. And I'm a very big believer that every single thing that we do in our lives, it's like another piece of the puzzle. It's leading us to where we're meant to go next. Without my years teaching, I don't think I would be where I am today. They were incredible. My students were my best friends. And I learned from my students just as much as I taught them. And it was definitely a stepping stone to the work that I do. But the personal connection in the classroom, the ability to really impact those kids' lives. And, you know, the kids actually were a big part of me taking that next step forward, taking that leap forward to leaving my job that I loved. You know, you generally will hear about people that maybe leave their job and do something new, and it's still a major leap, but they didn't love it, or it was a dead-end job. I loved what I was doing. I loved it. But I felt that there was something inside of me that was speaking up and saying, Orly, I know that you think that this is it, but there's something more that you're supposed to do with this. And I took a leap of faith, and I left my job. It was only going to be for 1 year. That's something that people don't know. I was only going to be doing it for 1 year to see what would happen if I put my all into my dream. And it started with a short film. And I would say that probably the other big accomplishment, the thing that I look at as one of my greatest accomplishments, is that film. That short 5-minute music video that I did back in the summer off from teaching, when I didn't know what Life Best Inside would become, or if anybody would even see it. I didn't have any marketing background. People always ask me, how did you get this film to go viral? It went viral back in 2011 when I first posted it, October of 2011. This was when the word viral was just becoming an actual term. And I had no idea what I had done. People always, what did you do? I said, I don't know. I put it out there. What I realized that I did is that I really put my entire heart into that film. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just the actions that you're seeing on the film, but it's the backstories that they're based upon. It's the emotion and the heart. And I think that that's why it reached so many people. And the fact that that film continues to go through spurts of virility, and I continue to get messages from people saying, Orly, that film saved my life, inspired me to start an organization. It repaired a relationship with a person I haven't spoken to in years. Various things like that. Mm-hmm. To me, that's my proudest moment.
Yeah, you should be proud about that. And I just love how you said that you loved teaching. Like that was, you thought that was what you would maybe do for the rest of your life, possibly.
Yeah.
But that it became a springboard for something else. And there's something that I read recently, and I've really been thinking about a lot. And it's like, your job is what you do, but your work is who you are. And I've really been thinking about how true that is, and how who we are is reflected in all of these different things that we do throughout our lives, wherever that takes us. And you've probably seen that as you've gone through your own journey and watched initiatives that you've started progress and change over time.
100%. And it's not, I would even take it a step further. Who you are isn't based on your job title or even the work description that you have. Mm-hmm. Who you are is the in-between moments from getting to point A to point B. What I mean by that, people can, in today's world, can value themselves based on these fake numbers, a facade of numbers. Maybe how many people are following them, or how many people like them, or how many people are speaking about them, or if they're in the TV or on the news, or whatever it may be. But the truth is, your value is your in-between moments. What you're doing, it's not the job title you have. You can have a person that's cleaning the floors in a building. But that might be what they do, but that's not who they are. Who they are the simple acts of kindness that they engage with people throughout the course of the day. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, I'm going to share with you just a quick story to help illustrate this point. This happened a few years back when my grandfather was ill. He was in the hospital, and we were very close to losing him. He did pass away about a month or so after this. And he was doing really poorly. And at the same time as that was happening, there was a lot going on in my own life. Professionally, within the organization, just lots of stress. Mm-hmm. Personally, my own personal life. It was like everything was coming down on me at the same time. And I was in the hospital, and I saw him, and he was so frail. And I left right away, and I just needed some air. I needed to get out. And I found myself wandering, and I ended up sitting on a bus stop, and I was really distraught. I was so sad and so down. There was a man that I saw in a car, and he was stopping by bus stops and cleaning the bus stops, right? With like this hose.
Yeah.
And he comes over to me, and I was in one of those states where, like when you're in such a bad place that if somebody asks you, is everything okay? Then all of a sudden you just start completely, like you lose it. Yeah. So he comes over to me because he has to clean the bus stop, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just with my hands on my head, and he's like, is everything okay? And I started crying, and he comes to me, and he says to me, he gave me a big hug, and he said to me, I want to continue speaking to you. I don't know what it is that you're going through, but just to know, this too shall pass. Mm-hmm. And I stood aside as he was cleaning the bus stop, and I see a woman walking by the bus stop, and I saw her facial expression. She looked like she was having a bad day.
Yeah.
He walks past him, and he said a few words to her, and she started to smile as she walked away from him. And I looked at this man, and I said, wow, he doesn't even realize, I don't know if he does, the impact that he's making. He's not just a guy that's cleaning a bus stop.
Yeah.
He's a person that's making an impact.
Right.
And afterwards, he came up to me, and he embraced me, and he wrote down his name. His name was Maximilian, and his phone number. He said, I know you don't know me, but if you ever feel like you're so close to giving up, you call me. Mm-hmm. I'll be there. This is what I'm talking about. This is what determines who we are.
Yeah.
You don't need to have a certain job title. You just need to be able to see people and engage with them.
Yeah, well, that's what I was talking about, is that I feel like the expression of who you are comes out in whatever work you do, whether he was cleaning the bus stops
Yes.
or whether he was, in that top office of a skyscraper in town.
Exactly.
He would have been the same man. Like, I think that man probably would have noticed every single person, like going up in the elevator or walking down the street or whatever. Like, it's really about being present and noticing a lot of the
That's
time.
exact. Seeing people. This is the key,
Yeah.
to see people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good stuff, Orly. Well, right now, the season that you're in, and I know you said you just moved to Jerusalem. You said you're only going to be there for like a year, but now you're thinking about maybe making it a home.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that out loud. I don't know if you told your family members that.
That's okay. My family's not so thrilled, but it's all good. It's all good.
Okay. But, I know that you're kind of in a season. And so what do you feel like you're learning right now?
My goodness, I've been learning a lot over this past year. First of all, number one, moving away from my home of 35 years, living in New York, living with my family,
Mm-hmm.
It was the first time living out on my own, honestly. It's just very, very much part of the culture within my community,
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot more about people. It's given me the opportunity to really spread my wings in a different kind of way. And I've also learned that how much more there is to grow. Meaning, when you think that you've grown, you haven't. There are always going to be growing pains. And putting yourself out and putting yourself out there, out of your comfort zone, is so important, because that's what allows the magic to happen. When we continuously get stuck in doing the same thing every day, or continuously we fall into this pattern, and we can become afraid of taking chances. And chances are good. They're good to take. Right. I'm not saying to go crazy and jump out of a plane. That's what I'm talking about. I'm saying to take chance, to get out of your comfort zone. Because when you do, you allow things to come into your life that may not have been able to come into it before, because you, in a sense, weren't letting it do that. And over this past year, I found so much, I don't know how you want to call it. For me, I call it divine intervention, but there's just so many things that have been able to flow into my life because I've been able to be more present and much more open. And it's been incredible to see just the people that I'm meeting, the ideas that are flowing. It's really incredible. And I hope I continue down that path. It's easy to get stuck in the routine. It's very easy. I took a leap of faith 8 years ago, leaving my job. And just last year, I took another leap of faith by leaving the city where I grew up in. And I see a big shift in myself. And I know there's still more that I need to be shifting in. But what I'm finding is that same feeling I had before I left teaching, I'm sort of feeling it again in a good way, meaning that this is amazing. This is a stepping stone to something that I didn't realize. And I'm right now in the process of figuring out what that next step is. Still doing what I'm doing, but utilizing the power of what I've learned over the past 8 years through the organization, through the people, through simply having to learn how to do things because there wasn't anybody else to do it for me. I have a staff or employees in that sense. And it's being able to take all of that and to channel it to whatever the next big thing is going to be for me. And I'm sort of getting hints about what it might be. I'm just not sure yet. Yeah. But it's exciting to sort of see it. I see it beginning to form. And I don't know yet what it is. I can't call it something.
Yeah, that's an exciting place to be, though.
It's good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
That's thrilling. Well, I feel like we hear that all the time, right? We hear, like, get out of your comfort zone, do something different. And there's so much fear in that. There's so much fear that you're not going to be able to do it, or the resources won't be there, or it's going to be harder than you thought. For someone who really, has been stuck for a while, and maybe they do want to do something new, what advice do you have for them?
First of all, I totally understand you. It's okay to be scared. I'm not going to be able to say something magical that's going to make the fear go away. It's not possible. When you're doing something different, there's always going to be that fear of the unknown. It's uncertainty, but there's also the excitement of it. Now, the thing is, if you wait for things to be perfect and the opportune moment for you to leave, you're never going to do it, or to do that new thing, or to try something. You're never going to do it. Let me give you just a couple of examples of what I mean by that. Okay, when I started Life Best Inside, I didn't know anything about the nonprofit world, or I was a teacher for 7 years. And I'm a big perfectionist. And being a perfectionist, while there are good things to it, there's also could be negative things to it. Because if you wait for something to be perfect, you'll never start. Yeah. And it was a year, my last year of teaching, I started working on the organization. And then I wasn't teaching. I was just doing the organization. September, the first time ever, I wasn't back in school. And it was a month passed. I'm like, oh, things are so difficult. I don't have a website up. Things are not moving as fast as I wanted. And I said to myself, and back then I'm like, I don't understand. Shouldn't it be done already? And I'm like, I'm laughing right now because I know how much time and how much effort and how much you need in order to get to where you need to get to. It doesn't happen like this.
No, it doesn't.
And I said to myself, you know what? I have this film. I didn't show it to anyone for a year. I shot the film September 1st, 2010. No one saw it until October of 2011. Okay? Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what? If I'm going to keep waiting for the website and this, who knows what's going to happen? I'm just going to post it online. Mm-hmm. That's it. I didn't know how, what. I uploaded it, and it took on a life of its own. Imagine, I didn't have a website for another 2 years after that. Imagine if I waited till everything was ready. Mm-hmm. I would have missed out on something. Yeah. When we hold on to things so much, you know, yes, you might have this idea, and you might get started on it, and maybe it's going to fail. But who said that failure is bad? Who said this? Yeah. Why is that something we so much believe? Failure is the way to learn. Failure is the way to grow. If we failed at something, okay, that means that didn't work. But what could we learn from it to make it a little bit better? Mm-hmm. If you're going to expect to just throw something at the wall and it to be amazing to begin with, sometimes that will happen, by the way. Sometimes, not going to say, magic happens. But if you're only expecting that to happen, and then if it doesn't work the first time, you're out, that means you're missing something much more important. You're missing the passion. Mm-hmm. You're missing the understanding of why you're doing what you're doing. Let me say this really clearly. If you know why you're doing what you're doing, the how is going to come to you. It will. But you have to know why. It's going to be hard. You think I haven't had hard times over these past 8 years? It's been very difficult. And there have been days where I've questioned and where I wanted to quit or I wanted to give up. And by the way, that's okay. And anyone that tells you otherwise is just plain out lying to you. You're going to have those days where you question and where you wonder and where you're completely fighting with yourself. Did I do the right thing? Did I not? That's called life. Yeah. But until you try, you're never going to know. So you have to, there is always going to be a risk. Nothing is ever going to be 100% before you start it. But if you know why you're doing it, let that guide you.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I need to be taking all these notes. So I hope if you're watching, you're taking notes because Orly has some really good advice in here. And I think it's things that we all think about, and we want to do amazing things. We have these ideas in us, but like you said, it's scary and you have to put yourself out there. But you just said, well, what's going to happen if you don't put yourself out there?
And you got to just start. The whole idea is to just start. Mm-hmm. When you start, you're going to learn more. And you're going to learn more. And you're going to learn more. And you're going to see what does work and what doesn't work. And you'll be able to tweak your idea. Because if you only look at what you want to do like this, and you forget to look to this. Now, I don't mean to look to the sides to get unfocused. But the idea is you have to be able to be flexible. Because sometimes the thing that you wanted to do needs to shift a little in order to get you to that same goal. You'll still get to the same destination, but sometimes you need to get there in a little bit of a different way. Yeah. If you're too rigid and you're unwilling to understand that, then of course you're going to break. So you have to be able to be flexible, to know your end game, your goal of where you want to get to, but to understand that sometimes you have to pivot a little bit in order to get there.
Yeah. And I think sometimes too, there's these standards that we put on ourselves that it has to be done in a certain amount of time, or like you said, a certain way. And you said you posted that video, you didn't know what was going to happen with Life Best Inside, or how you're going to get the website done, or what necessarily was going to be included on that website. And so often I feel like we go to, like I'm part of this organization that helps you kind of formulate business plans and, grow your business. And there's so much pressure to figure out the how before you have truly figured out, like, well, I want to figure out why I'm doing this and sort of see where it goes first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to know that why is so, so important, but it's just about getting started
Mm-hmm.
and trusting it and not being afraid to fail, not being afraid to fall. And you don't need to prove anything to anyone out there in this world. You just need to prove it to you. So sometimes we'll do things or we won't. And listen, there are times where a project doesn't work and you might have to give up on it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to be able to determine, are the obstacles coming because you need to shift?
Yeah.
Or maybe that thing, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
You need to determine that. And that's something very personal. I can't tell you that. When I started, my events, Dance for Kindness, it's a global event, right? Happens around the world. It's a worldwide flash mob that kicks off World Kindness Week. I didn't have a website. All I had is an idea. And I remember posting up, I don't know if I put a video or if I put a post, I can't remember now. It was back in 2012 on Facebook. And I said, hey guys, I want to do this event all over the world, celebrate World Kindness Day. Anybody want to, take a chance and join me? 30 people reached out from 15 countries.
Oh.
And now the event is in over 50 countries.
That's incredible.
I didn't know yet what I was doing. It grew so much from then. It was just like the handbook that I created was like a Google Doc with a few pages. Now it's like a 70-page booklet. There's no application. But it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
I learned what I needed to learn simply by doing.
Yeah.
And by starting.
Right. I hope you're writing down all of these lessons that you've learned over the years, because I think that you have a lot of wisdom to pass on.
The truth is, I remember when I first got started with the organization, I used to keep voice recordings. I remember finding just about a year ago, I found the voice recording I left before I even left school to start the organization. And I'm talking about what I believe that it can be, and I wonder where it's going to be. And I just found it. It was before the video even was released.
Yeah.
It was so crazy to hear. And the truth is, I wish that I'd kept these voice recordings throughout the years.
Yeah.
Some of the moments where I thought it was the worst things ever that were happening, and I was just hysterical. I'm like, how am I going to get through this? And now looking back, hindsight is 2020.
Right.
But, perhaps you're going to inspire me to start that again.
Yeah. You need to try to recreate all of that. Well, that's going to lead us then into our final question. And we talked a little bit about this before we went live on our video, but tell me a little bit about your aspirational self, the future you, the legacy that you want to leave and to pass on. And I think I probably have a little bit of an idea of what that is, but I want to hear you say it out loud.
Legacy, what I want to be remembered for. For me, again, everything is all about kindness, but it's more than that. It's much more than that. My greatest wish is to help people recognize how amazing they are, so they can recognize just how amazing other people are. Mm-hmm. If I can help people see the beauty in themselves, I know that it will be natural for them to see the beauty in others. And when we can do that, we truly can create a tremendous amount of change in this world. Instead of pointing fingers at one another, we point fingers at us. Look at yourself. Love who you are, with the good and with the bad. When you do that, you'll be able to really embrace other people for who they are, no matter how different they are, or whether they believe what you believe, or completely anti what you believe. Mm-hmm. So what? You can't make people become you. So that's my greatest legacy, for people to just finally see, to understand their sense of value.
I know that that's really personal for you, and I love hearing you talk about it. And I've loved seeing what you've done with your life in helping spread this across the world. I know that you never had any idea how big it would be. And I think that the thing that I love the most about it is that you have invited all of us to join you. Like, it's not Orly's thing. It belongs to all of us, 100%. And we all get to be a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yes, it has been a joy to talk to you today. Thank you for joining me on this edition of Mission Driven Monday, and I'll see you again next week.